Welcome to the ABCs of Preschool, the show that covers all things from parenting to childcare. And we're going to get real about how not just to survive, but thrive in the early years. I'm your host, Miss Amber. I'm a mom of 5 and early childhood expert with over 25 years in the industry. Whether you're a parent, an educator, or just curious about early childhood education, this podcast is for you. Each week, we're going to dive into what life looks like raising little ones, with special guests, industry experts, and personal stories that will leave you inspired and empowered. Get ready to explore, imagine, and discover the beautifully messy that comes with these magical years. Buckle up, because thriving during the early years is a wild and rewarding ride. Hello, friends. Welcome to the ABCs of Preschool. I'm your host, Miss Amber. Do not mind my cold. I've been sick for like 10 days. Craziness. I went on an amazing family vacation. We were looking forward to this for like 10 months. I'm typically not a huge planner. I'm very spontaneous. If something opens up in the schedule, how my life is set up, I'm very kind of last minute. So I travel very last minute. But this family trip was planned since I think last January, almost a year ago. And it was extraordinary. Like, I'm all about memories over stuff. I'm not a huge gift giver anymore. For my kids, for Christmas, I like to give experiences because I just feel like that is lasting memories. And this trip was so special. All of my kids now are grown up, they're young adults, they are on their own path. They are accomplishing their own things with their careers, their jobs. They're meeting partners, and there was 8 of us total. And 2 females came along with my sons, and it was extraordinary. And let's see, there was 3 of them. One of my sons and 2 of the girls had never been actually have never been to Europe. So we went on an Italian cruise line because it was a really screaming deal. So we had to get 8 of us to Spain. And then we jumped on the cruise and it was so fun. And the pizza on that cruise was extraordinary because it was an Italian cruise line. Anyway, so the memories, the laughs, and ended up getting sick, I think 3 days into the trip. So I would take so much Motrin and Advil and drug myself up, get off the boat and go see everybody. And then by the time we got back in, I was literally in bed. So it's crazy. I think it's been like 10 days of this crazy cough thing, but I'm just really thankful for the blessing. I have so much gratitude in my heart for that. We were all together for like 8 or 9 days. And that is quite a feat to get 8 people around. I'm so thankful that my husband works for the airlines. I know what a blessing that is. I think there's a lot of people in the airline industry that don't even use their benefits. But me and my husband, on the other hand, we use them all the time. So we got the girlfriends, buddy passes. So our airlines, it was amazing. So to get 8 people to Spain, and we had to go to through different countries, and we went on trains, planes, automobiles. It was just a really, really great time. So I'm all about one big family vacations to get the freaking gifts. Who needs gifts? Who needs things? Memories are so much better. So sorry, I talked a lot about that, but it was really fun. And I haven't had all my kids on a family vacation in like 3.5 years because one of my sons has been in the Air Force. So it was great. So I'm just smiling from ear to ear. But today's episode is not about my family vacation. It's not about the joy that I got from family vacation, but it is a friendly reminder to make memories with our kids when they're young in preschool, when they're in elementary school, when they're in high school. Making memories, having experiences just produce amazing memories. But today's episode is actually going to be talking to you daycare owners. If you are a daycare, a home daycare provider, if you have daycare in your name, in your marketing, you refer to yourself as a daycare, this is for you because I'm going to give you 3 reasons to transition from daycare to preschool. And I'm going to give you 3 reasons why to do this. And daycare has just been a really broad term for years of people who watch kids, right? Who's your daycare provider? Who watches, what daycare are your kids at? But being in this industry for almost 30 years, there's also a persona: daycare versus preschool. And daycare, some may say, is a glorified babysitter. And I don't want to be rude here. I'm just saying what many perceive as daycare. And what I want to do is elevate you providers, because you are not glorified babysitters. You are so much more than that. But in order to present ourselves as real, true educators, we have to start from the get go as educators. And so, daycare versus I'm a daycare versus I'm a preschool elevates you. Preschool has the word school in it. And typically, when you market yourself as a preschool, you have curriculum, you have activities, it's organized, there is a schedule for the day. So that is why I want to encourage everybody to start moving away from daycare and let's embrace preschool and actually school, because we all know if you are a home childcare provider, you know how extraordinary these early years are. I always refer to them as magical because kids in the 0 to 5 age are little sponges. Kids in general are sponges, but there's so much growth that happens between 0 and 5. And when you're a part of that, when you are providing care for 0 to 5 year olds, I want you to be seen as a legitimate career. And we are not glorified babysitters. We are so much more. So, why I'm talking about this today is because I'm really wanting to change the perception of early child care providers. And even when you're running in your home, I ran in my home successfully for 9 years. You are an early childhood provider. You are an early childhood educator. And so I want to elevate you to that. I want you to have the best clients, the best kids, the best income coming in so you can last for the long haul. And taking daycare out of your vocabulary, out of marketing, and changing it into a preschool, it elevates you, in my opinion. Back in 2001, a long time ago, when I just had my son, I knew I wanted to open up my own preschool. And I remember being so adamant that I was not going to be a daycare. I needed to stand out from all the other home providers because I was starting in my home. And I wanted to be looked at as a real preschool teacher, as a real preschool center with curriculum and marketing and a schedule and art time and music. I provided all of that. And I started right away with putting preschool in my name and marketing myself as a school. Yes, I was running from my home. And yes, for 6 months, I ran in my living room. We were building a classroom onto my living room with its own entrance. But that whole living room was transformed into a classroom. I had bulletin boards. I had tables and chairs. I had learning centers. I had a dramatic play area. I had a book area. There was art on the walls. There was a weekly schedule. I had a monthly newsletter. From the jump, I wanted to be known in my community as a high quality learning environment for children between the ages of 2 and 5. And you may even have infants, and that's okay because infants are still learning. We have infants at one of my preschools now, and they learn so much, and we're teaching them as well. We sing songs to them. We're teaching them numbers. We're teaching them music. They get to paint. They get to do sensory projects. So let's get into it. The first reason is professionalism and credibility. I want you to stand out in your market. And by elevating yourself to a real preschool with a real schedule, with art and music and science and cooking, and a schedule that parents can see, you become professional. You become validated. If they walk into your home and there's a big TV and there's nothing really going on that even looks like a classroom, looks like a learning environment, you will be a daycare. You will be a glorified babysitter. And that's what people will expect. But if people walk into your home and it's organized, it's clean, there's a little dramatic play area, there's kitchen, there's an art table, there's bulletin boards, there's a schedule that you show them, you already have credibility. People are impressed by that. And then you're going to stand out from the crowd. Preschool, the name preschool in your name positions you as an educator and not just a caregiver. And yes, we are all of it. We are caregivers. We are emotional support. We do so much in this field. But if they walk in and you show them you're a real preschool, I don't care if it's in your home. Like I said, I ran so successfully for a long time, almost 10 years in my home. But as soon as parents walked in, they knew it was a school. It looked like a school. It felt like a school. We ran like a school. And parents are more likely to value and respect your work when they see that you are part of a child's academic journey. So many times I hear people in the home field, daycare, childcare home field, is people are late all the time. People ask for favors all the time. I don't think that if you are not organized and you do not have a structure and you do not start at the jump as I am an educator, these are my rules, these are my boundaries, then people are not going to respect you as much and they're going to step all over you. Closing time. If closing time is 5:30, it's 5:30 because your home life is valuable. Your time with your family is just as important as their time with their children. But if you do not set those boundaries and set that standard, then people aren't going to follow the rules. Number two is increased demand and appeal. Many parents are specifically searching for preschools because they associate them with structure and learning and preparation for kindergarten. And people search for daycare all the time. When I'm marketing my school, daycare is on one of the word searches. But I think if you ask parents, preschool versus daycare is a whole different thing because there's commercial daycares out there, childcare centers, that kids are watching TV like half the day. There's nothing going on, there's no program. And I think my goal for all that I'm doing right now, I mean, I don't need to be doing a podcast. I don't need to be writing a book. I don't need to be doing these interviews, but I want to because I'm passionate about it because I want to change how people view our career. And I want to change the way people do things. And I want you to be validated. I want you to be credible. I want you to be a real professional educator. And more people, more parents want their kids to be learning. They're paying a lot of money to us to watch their children, to care for their children. And in that, when you're a preschool, our job is education as well. We want to teach our kids. And it's not just academics, there's so much more that goes on to learning all day. And so parents want that. I mean, they're spending so much money on childcare and they want a safe, kind, loving place for their children, but they also want a learning environment. And so that's why I'm encouraging to throw out the daycare terms. I just had to do a whole rebranding like a year and a half ago. I know it sucks. It's horrible, but I want you to elevate yourself. If you're in the home, you are competing with so many other home providers, just like I'm competing in the commercial world with so many centers. So we always have to look inwards. We always have to see what is working, what is not working. Just at one of my schools, we did a survey, just read all the surveys, heard about the surveys, what we're doing really good and what we're not doing really good. It's always good to be evolving and changing. That's probably why I've lasted this long because we can never remain stagnant. We always have to be growing and learning in any field in our journey as a person itself. So I really truly believe if you market yourself, if you are a legitimate preschool, your home, you have an area set up that looks like a classroom, you have your curriculum, you have schedules on the wall, you have outside time and music time and art time. Parents are going to love it. Trust me, they're going to love it. And I want you to have a waiting list. I want you to have people lining up at your door because if a family doesn't work out, a family moves, the worst thing to happen is you lose a child and you lose like $1,000 of your income every month. So you're always wanting to look ahead and have that waiting list. So you always have a steady, consistent income. And I really believe that elevating yourself to a preschool can help that. And number three is standing out in your market. I really want you to stand out in your market. And there's 100 different daycares, Susie's daycares, Monica's daycare. There's 100 daycares. But how many home preschools are there in your area that are true preschools with curriculum, with a schedule. So I want you to be able to stand out in your area, in your community. Rebranding as a preschool can set you apart from other childcare centers in your area. Like I said, rebranding sucks. Changing names sucks. I get it. It sucks. So it's a big decision to make too. You have to really think about it. I know you might have like a Facebook page, an Instagram page. Maybe you throw on daycare and preschool if it's already really set in for years, but it's just food for thought. This episode is just food for thought. I do think the landscaping is really changing. There's just way more options for parents now. And so I think elevating yourself, rebranding if you need to, creating a structure, creating a calendar, creating a newsletter, creating really good marketing also makes you stand out. It gives you a competitive edge. So here's some steps like, okay, now what do I do? So revamp your curriculum. Like take a good look at your program now. Is there so much free play? Here's the thing too, like if there's just so much free play and kids are just running amok with no structure, we all know they're going to misbehave and they're going to get so bored. And what do kids do when they get bored? They act out. And then it creates so much stress for you. Define structured hours. Start with your hours. Like, are they defined? Is there a structured, and do you create boundaries with your clients so they do not walk all over you? Update your marketing materials, your website brochures, your signage. Like I said, I just had to do this. It is a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass. But sometimes we have to rebrand. Sometimes we have to kind of look at things and change them because what worked 10 years ago, it needs to be always updated. Everything needs to be updated. So look at your program internally. Look at your marketing. Look at your signage, your website. Can it be updated? There's like Fiverr. There's a lot of different things on the internet that's a lot cheaper. I love Fiverr. If you haven't heard of it, Fiverr is awesome. Canva is like my best friend. I'm on Canva all the time and I create so much marketing stuff. And then if you do have staff, train your staff as well. Elevate them and let them know, hey, I want to be taken more seriously in my community. We are going to revamp this program. And if you need help, if you need coaching, reach out. I am here to help. Like reach out to thelovingstartway.com. We've got academy training videos. We actually go to people's houses. Reach out as well, because maybe taking these simple steps of changing yourself into a preschool rather than a daycare is going to elevate yourself. You can ask for more money. You're going to have higher quality of clients, setting really good boundaries like a real school program. That's one thing I did even since 2001 when I first opened. I had set days and set hours and I did not back from them. And I had vacation time blocked off. I set my schools up just like the elementary schools in our neighborhood. And people know as soon as they sign up with me, I give them a year calendar. There is about 6 weeks closure dates because we follow the school district. I've never wavered in 24 years. And even on the survey, we got one complaint about that. I get it. It's a lot of closure dates. But my theory is to be the best educators, we also need that break. So putting preschool in your name is elevating you, elevating your program. And I want you to last for the long haul. I want you to have a waiting list. I want you to be paid the best. I want you to have a really great home life and not people not coming 45 minutes late, 30 minutes late, 45 minutes late, or asking you to watch kids on the weekends. Set those boundaries and you are an amazing educator, an early childhood educator. Own it. Thrive with it. And I think it's amazing. Thank you so much for what you're doing. Truly, we need more of you in this world. Anyways, everybody, I just hope you have a really beautiful week. I will see you next week. If you need more information, I'm at thelovingstartway.com and of course all over social media at The Loving Start Way.
Thanks for listening. I appreciate you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to hear this podcast. Make sure to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss the next episode. For more information on how to work with me, Miss Sandberg, visit me at thelovingstartway.com or follow me on Insta at The Loving Start Way.